our region's business, improving our economy, creating jobs, and strengthening communities. Innovation, collaboration, transformation, and the people making it happen. Join us as we take a closer look at our region's business. Now, here's your host, Bill Flanagan.
Today on our region's business, big hopes for Pennsylvania's $5 million investment in nonstop air service to Ireland. Smart money from across the country is finding opportunity here in AI and autonomous vehicles. A Pittsburgh startup that's building a world without waste. And the ROI on 30 years of investment in Pittsburgh's city parks. First, our region's newest transatlantic air connection. Aer Lingus chose Memorial Day to launch nonstop airline service between Pittsburgh and Dublin, Ireland. Irish step dancers and musicians turned out to welcome the passengers on the first flight, which the Allegheny County Airport Authority had been pursuing for more than a decade. The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania is investing in incentives to get the new service off the ground, $5.25 million over 2 years. Those incentives expected to generate more than $23 million a year in economic activity. Christina Casotis is CEO of the Airport Authority.
It's been 11 years and it took all of us, so I would say congratulations to the conference for helping us, the Steelers, and everybody who believed in this and made this possible, because we couldn't do it on our own.
What finally put it over the top?
I think the Steelers, I think that the game in Dublin made a really big difference. Just to see, as the team said, to see the entire city in black and gold. I think the state's contributions made a really big difference. It's very typical to incent an airline in order to help them in their first couple of years to getting a service started. And everybody does it, and it helped to have the state be able to help us do that.
So what's the ROI on an investment like that?
I mean, it creates jobs. It allows for business to actually consider locating here as opposed to somewhere else in the U.S. if there's a nonstop flight. I mean, you work with site selectors. You know, nonstop service matters when you're making decisions about where you're going to base your company or grow your company. And so everything that we can do to enhance the business that's already here and help grow it is something that we're really interested in, and we're really happy to have partnered with everybody else in making this happen.
Regional business leaders were on board, literally and figuratively, to seek a business investment to bring back home, and Matt Smith was among them. He joins us from Dublin, Ireland. He's Chief Growth Officer for the Allegheny Conference, which co-produces this program. Welcome, Matt. Good to see you again.
Great to be with you, Bill.
Yeah, I got to ask you, you know, you were on the first flight. How's the service to get over there?
It's a great service. It's a great product. It's a brand new plane that they've deployed for this route. And yeah, really, this is all about building strategic economic bridges between the Pittsburgh market and Ireland. And this flight, this direct flight, is going to allow us to add a major tool in the toolbox to make Pittsburgh a much more attractive investment opportunity for Irish-based companies, and at the same time, open up and unlock doors for Pittsburgh-based companies doing business in Ireland to operate much more effectively and in a more seamless way that they've had before this flight.
I got to think, you know, it's our third transatlantic flight on top of London and Reykjavik, which is also back up and running for the summer. It has to make your job easier as somebody trying to attract investment and open doors overseas to have more than one option.
It really does. Air service is directly related to economic development. When we talk to companies, whether they're based in the U.S. or they're based abroad, they frequently ask us how they'll be able to get from one market to the other in the most predictable, the most seamless way. These direct air service flights, like the Pittsburgh to Dublin flight, allow us to do that, and they give us the ability to make the pitch in a really strategic and concerted way to Irish-based companies, and that's what we've been doing over the last couple of days in Ireland, and we hope and believe that that will lead to companies coming over to Pittsburgh, those companies coming over to Pittsburgh, creating business development pipelines. And ultimately, what our objective is to use a flight like this to close deals. We know that's our North Star. That's what we want to be doing. And we want to use flights like this to be able to ultimately close deals and bring business investment into the Pittsburgh market.
Well, and there are already pretty deep connections between Pittsburgh and Dublin and Ireland in general. You've gotten to see some of that while you've been over there this week, right?
Yeah, there's major cultural connections. There's also major business connections. We visited earlier today, actually, the Google office over here in Dublin. We want to make sure that we're building those bridges. What's really been interesting is that, and I've learned this over the last couple of trips to Ireland, the Irish economy is very much like the Pittsburgh region economy, very innovation focused across multiple sectors, AI, robotics, energy, manufacturing. And so when we talk to Irish companies, we're able to say the Pittsburgh region can be a very, very healthy host for you to land, for you to make that first investment, that first entree into the United States, because the Pittsburgh economy is very similar in terms of the strengths than the Irish economy, to the Irish economy.
You know, Christina Casotis mentioned that this took 11 years of work and effort by the airport, by the Allegheny Conference, and lots of others. How important was that community support and the business community support to actually make this finally happen?
It was tremendously important. And it is, as you know, Bill, I have a foot on the Airport Authority board, serving as the vice chair, and certainly my role at the Allegheny Conference. The regional support, the Pittsburgh Steelers and Dan Rooney stepping up multiple times to help us make the pitch to Aer Lingus was absolutely integral. And then, you know, the secret sauce we always talk about in the Pittsburgh region is the public-private collaboration that exists. The state coming in, Senator Devlin Robinson, the county executive in her support from Allegheny County, the private sector support, all of the companies that are doing business in Ireland that are based in Pittsburgh. Across the board, they've all been part of this effort. And we would not have been able to do that without putting that strategic coalition together. And you know, that's what's really exciting is that's a model that worked for this flight. It's also a model that works for other air service. It's a model that works for us when we try to attract business investment to the region. And we want to take that model of public-private collaboration and apply it in multiple ways, not just within the air service context, but certainly within the business investment and attraction context.
Yeah, I only got a few seconds left, but I got to ask you, once you're back home, how do you turn all of this into actual investment and economic activity here in Pittsburgh?
It's all about bringing those Irish companies that we're talking to over here back to Pittsburgh so that they can see the innovation that's occurring across sectors in Pittsburgh, the talent-rich pipeline that we have, and the cost-competitive market that Pittsburgh is, particularly relative to the coast. So we want to bring the relationships in the established context that we're making now back to Pittsburgh so they can see it firsthand. And we know we're going to be able to do that in the very near future.
All right, Matt Smith, Chief Growth Officer from the Allegheny Conference. Congratulations and safe travels.
Thanks, Bill. Appreciate it.
And next up, our region pioneered AI and autonomous systems, and now it's emerging as one of the leading markets for startups in those industries. Please stay with us.